Good evening, everyone. It's your girl, Miss Sophia the Diva, and I'm back again with another review of Secrets and Lies Season 2. And I am behind on my reviews, so please forgive me, but I know some people will probably binge watch this show. But I am about to review Season 2, Episode 3, The Liar. Baby, somebody is lying, honey. Yes, they are. So when we left off, Eric, who is playing Super Sleuth, he's on the case to clear his name and find out who's Kate. Or was her name really even Kate at this point is what I want to know. He has, of course, gone to Liam Connors, or as we knew him to be, Liam Connors, who was Kate's faithful assistant. And he goes there, and there's mystery dude, blonde-haired dude, in the apartment. He done snatched Eric in the apartment. He told him, you scared pretty easy for a murderer. Did you kill your wife? And he's looking at him like, dude, no. And if you look around, the damn apartment is completely ransacked. He shows Eric a picture of a girl named Carly. I don't know. I guess she came to the party with Liam or something, so that's why. Turns out that Kate sent Mystery Dude the pic right before she died. Interesting. At some point, I can't remember or recall right now, but Eric ends up going to see Detective Cornell once again by himself against his sister's wishes. And he's telling her all of this stuff, I believe, about what's going on with Mystery Dude and all this stuff. And she's looking at him all crazy. And he's like, aren't you supposed to protect and serve? And in my mind, I'm like, shit. I bet those words are going to come back to bite you in your ass, because your father gave a generous donation, we learned in one episode, to, I guess, the police fraternity fund or whatever. And she made mention of that because, you know, Detective Cornell be trying to get in that ass and get you to get off your game. So, I mean, Eric, you keep falling for the okie doke. At some point, he goes back crawling to his sister, asking and begging her to please forgive him for his shortcomings. And so she's kind of like, I've been telling you not to go see this woman by yourself, but you're hard-headed and you don't listen. And so finally she relents and says, okay, well, just write down everything. And I do mean everything. Don't leave it a detail that you said to this woman, Detective Cornell. Okay, get it together, big bro. At some point, there is a flashback with Neil and Eric having drinks. As you know, Neil got roughed up by blonde-haired dude at some point, and for some reason, he won't be honest and tell, you know, Eric what's going on between him and blonde-haired mystery dude. And so they're having drinks, and once again, Neil is divorced. Because I think in this episode or the episode before, we learned that Eric's been married about 4 times. So, he essentially is pouring his heart out, and Eric already has plans with Kate. So when Kate shows up, they leave, and on their way out, what's going on with you guys? And he tells her, oh, you know, once again, Neil had a divorce. And she was like, oh no, I don't want you to be that guy. And that's when I said, okay, Kate, well, Kate was the chill wife. She was the cool wife. You know, if your boy in trouble, she was like, you know, go hang out with him. But he needs a friend right now. You know, we can do dinner any other time. Eric and his assistant are talking about Liam Connors, and he inquires to her about what exactly did he find out was up with Liam Connors, or the dude who knew to be Liam Connors. And she tells him it's very odd. The name is Social Match, but the background is just very, very sketchy. I mean, all these things I've circled, it's all been fabricated. So based upon what the assistant said, I'm thinking Liam may have been Kate's long lost son, because she said she did a search and there was a kid around Liam's age that was 20, that would be 20 now, but he died in a car crash. So is it the kid, or hell, did Liam pretend to be Kate's son? So Eric goes and runs to tell his dad everything that's going on. And his father is like getting very upset about it because, you know, apparently Kate was like a perfectionist and he just can't believe that Kate would drop the ball on someone like Liam, but he did. And he was like, Kate was my wife and I knew her. And his dad was like, I don't think so. I don't think none of us really knew who this heifer was that came up in our family and up here letting some boy be in all our business. Eric later meets up with Patrick. Patrick even describes Kate as being like this perfectionist and having this type A personality. So they're in her office once again. He's like, oh, look, maybe we can find out something more. There's a voicemail. So in the voicemail, they get a call, or Kate rather got a call from a guy named Hal Markham in the fraud division. And he informs them that, one of your investors, Keith Blair, there's a line of credit that's been opened in his name. So it turns out that Lynn was a very busy man. He had been up here opening up lines of credit essentially for his benefit under clients' names. So in other words, SEG security basically has been breached, and are they going to disclose to their clients the fact that, hey, I hate to tell you this, but somebody might have stole your tax ID number or your social, so just wanted to let you know that. They also talked about the fact that Lim listened to horrible music. Now, keep that in mind as I do these reviews, okay? They also discuss getting video from the party that night. But Patrick had already found out that there was an issue with that too, because that for some odd reason, they did not have, the security downstairs did not have video footage between 7 and 10. And let's be real, between 7 and 10 is when the party was going on at SEG. And right before 10 is when Kate took her deadly fall from the balcony. Who's trying to cover up what here, okay? So Eric, super sleuth, goes downstairs, talks to security about this, and he learns, that, the police were pretty peeved that they couldn't get any footage. But Eric thinks outside the box and says, you know what, let me get footage a couple hours before the party and a couple hours afterwards. So he goes home and looks at it, and he sees them coming in and people coming in, going out. As a matter of fact, I don't think she's come up yet, but there was some woman that kind of stopped and stared and looked up in like a red or some sort of cardigan, looked like a mama that would bake cookies, okay? And so I don't know. It also showed Liam hauling ass, though, about the damn place. He had like a box of stuff. I don't know if it was his personal property, if he was still an SG, but he like shit and hit the fan. Shit and got real. Let me get my shit packet and get the hell up out of here. And it's some old beat up cutlass. And so Eric is able to zoom in on the license plate tag. And let's just say it's going to prove to be a lead for him in his search to clear himself up. So at some point, Eric comes across a credit card statement. He reviews it and notices something that seems out of sorts. There is a charge on there for a Grand Capri Hotel. And in my mind, I was like, what the hell? Was Kate cheating in the next room? Of course, Super Sleuth Eric is on the case. You know what? I think instead of being like a hedge fund investor, that type of thing, specializing in mergers and acquisitions, I'm thinking maybe Eric should open up his own detective firm. I think he's very good at finding leads. Hell, actually, he's a little bit better than even Detective Cornell, but that's just my 2 cents. So he goes there, and the shady dude at the front desk confirms what we already know. He was like, yeah, I seen him. Yeah, and that dude, she was here with him too. Man, let me tell you something. I've been through this. Divorce that ass, okay? Because after my divorce, this all I got left. This all I got left, okay? I was like, Lord, Eric, don't listen to him. So now that Eric is armed with this information and knows that Shane Campbell was with his wife, he rolls up to the damn store where Shane works or owns. And in my mind, I was like, oh my God, Michael Ealy's character looks like dude from the perfect guy. And we all know how dark and eerie and scary he was in that movie. I said, oh shit, Shane about to get that ass whipped. Okay, but no. In the words of Aunt Vi from Queen Sugar, he showed Shane some graciousness. Okay, he had that flashback to that terrible, awful tragedy that happened in high school and what cost him a few months of his life in juvie. And he decides, I'm going to set on this. And I think Shane saw his ass and he looked shook. Okay, so I said, I bet Shane going to pop up at some point. This episode was kind of weird because I was confused. I was like, is this a flashback or is he dreaming? But when he gets back to his apartment, that crazy ex, I think her name is Tracy Sawyer, is waiting in the hallway. It's like, Eric, I just wanted to let you know I didn't tell them. Baby, come back. Ah! I was like, this crazy heifer showed up down to your house, child. What you gonna do, Eric? What you gonna do? So Eric took off running, and you could tell she was crazy because some neighbors were in the hallway staring at things, and the staring like, what's going on? Oh my God, it's that guy that murdered his wife. You know, the general public, once it's planted, people are gonna run. I believe he did it. But old girl was like, I said, well, hell, she ain't too crazy. She told them people, she was like, get out of here. Don't you be staring at him. He my man. And he didn't kill his wife either. I was like, this heifer crazy. Yes, she is. She's crazy. So Eric meets up with his sister. He gets to see her in action. Oh, God, I can't wait to get my license to practice. I love negotiating. But either who, she's negotiating with some ADA, basically tell him, take the deal I'm offering or else. And he was like, oh, look at you, little sis. You got skills. So either way, he tells his sister about the fact that that ex showed up. And he also gave us some background on why he's so afraid of Tracy. Tracy's batshit crazy. Tracy is that type of female that when you break up with her, it is not going to be easy to break up with her. Let me tell you why. This heifer showed up to his house crazy, deranged, and out her mind. As a matter of fact, his sister even used a reference from Fatal Attraction. She was like, what, was she cooking a rabbit? I said, you know what, y'all wrong for that. Y'all wrong. Barb, you're wrong for that, okay? She was like, okay, well, fine. You know what, we need to get a restraining order, and let's make sure that, you know, you're okay. And once again, stay away from Cornell Eric as if he can. So in this episode, Eric is really like trying to hold it together. So he comes into the office. He sees his father with Neil, whom he's still mad at because Neil won't tell him what's the story behind Mystery Dude, okay? So he comes into the meeting. He's like, what's going on? Basically, what's going on is the fact that because Eric had pretty much said he wanted to distance himself from everything going on with SEG in order to protect and preserve it, his father was just like, okay, I'm just going to use Neil for now until I can figure out what to do. And so Neil is like, well, you know, you're free to take the lead. You know, I can speak or not speak. I can do whatever you need me to do, be whatever you want me to do. And Eric just kind of gave him the side eye. So then his dad takes him off to the side. They have a talk. And Eric says he just can't believe that you didn't include me. But he was like, you said you wanted to resign. And so he lets him know that, or the father lets him know, hey, I built this company for the family, you know, but your sister's not interested. Shit, look at Patrick. He a hot ass mess. His ass is in no condition to run any country. Hell, he can't even run a damn marathon, okay? Hell yeah, because Patrick be drinking. He be drinking, okay? So Eric's like, okay, Dad, I just really want to distance myself and protect the company. That's really the only reason I wanted to do it. At some point in this conversation, Mom comes up. We still don't know what's up with Mom. Is she dead? Is she alive? I mean, what's going on with her? So he was like, well, he's talking about, my wife dead. I ain't got nobody at home, but I just want to be here. I don't know how to deal with life. Daddy, please, let me come back to work. Okay, no, he didn't do all that. But basically, Eric's character is one of those, and I've seen them before. I had a coworker that was essentially the same. Her husband died, and she was back at work after the bereavement period. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? Your husband just died. And she was like, I just don't want to be alone at home. I do better being here at work. And that's what Eric's attitude is. And that's what his father's attitude is when he asked him about, well, how did you cope, after mom? Is that what happened? Because he was like, without Kate, this is the company is all I have left. Um, so Eric meets with the client whom he brought on board to SEG. The client's name is Gavin. Gavin has worked with SEG for 7 years. He decides he's going to pull his money, and I can respect that. Eric tries to explain to him that, I haven't been convicted or charged with murder, but the guy was explaining to him it's just that the taint of it makes it scary for me and my money. So me and my money, because I have a fiduciary obligation to my clients, I'm going to pull it. I am so sorry. It's not personal. It's just business, son. Okay, here we go. Detective Cornell once again. So I love this part. This is my favorite part of the show. Detective Cornell wants to know about his relationship with Tina Sawyer. I said called her Tracy earlier. It's Tina. Forgive me. But Eric finally says, enough with this shit. I ain't got time for this. You know what? I'm not cooperating. So if you think that I killed my wife, hey, bring it. Come for me. Come get me. But right now, I'm not talking about it anymore. I was like, bloop. Guess he told you, Detective Cornell. And that will not be the last time Detective Cornell gonna get her ass checked. Okay? Oh, it's Monday. And this is Mother's Day. So Eric goes to see his daddy at the hospital where their mother is being cared for. Basically, his mom is in a vegetative state. Basically, I don't think mom is really there. I think just whatever life support is left, she's there. And apparently she's been there for some years. So Eric finally confesses about what happened with Liam. I think I said earlier he had confessed, but no, this is the point when he confessed about the fraudulent activities that Liam had been doing. Pop surprises me. He was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bury it and never speak about it again. We'll cover the losses and whatever cost needs to be done, but we are never to talk about it. We won't tell. And then Eric's looking at him, but don't we have a fiduciary duty to disclose? He tells him, well, Cornell's a damn good cop. She'll figure it out. And I'm thinking to myself, one good cop, an innocent man is dead because of Cornell. Let's not forget that, what was his name? Ben Crawford got murdered in prison before his name was cleared. How is she a good detective? Okay, I don't understand that. Later on, we'll find out some more about that too. So Dad leans in and tells him, let me tell you something, son. Either you trust me when I tell you what I'm telling you to do, and if you can't do that, son, obey me. I was like, oh, he pulled the daddy card on you. He pulled the daddy card on you. Eric, be quiet. Keep quiet. So at this point, I was wondering, what's up with Pop Warner? What does he know? Is he out of his fucking mind? My spidey senses are telling me that Pop knows something, because I work in financial services, and one of the things I can tell you is that, and not only that, I'm a holder of a law degree. You got a fiduciary obligation to disclose, because if not, you've breached that fiduciary duty, and the repercussions can be great. You can be fined. You can be, your business can totally fold because of your failure to disclose. I mean, try to cover it up if you can, but hey, maybe because it's closely held and not a publicly traded company, maybe it's easier to do that, but I'm just saying. I understand, but anyways. At some point during this conversation with his dad, there's a flashback of their mom, and we learned what happened. But I'm suspicious now about that too. Because if y'all notice, Patrick drinks a lot, and he's the baby. and Mandy and Eric, I mean, they seem to be a very close-knit family, right? So in the flashback, they're at the hospital, they sitting there in the waiting room, and the cop tells Daddy, well, Miss Warner took a fall down the steps, and apparently she was inebriated. And I was like, well, this explains Patrick's drinking. Maybe it's an addiction that runs in the family. But notice the look that Eric and Amanda give each other. It's like, keep quiet. I'm like, did they kick her down the stairs? Was she an incompetent mama? Was she always drunk and angry and abusive to them? I mean, what's up? Did Pop know she was like this, and was he trying to get her help? I mean, there's just all kinds of questions. Comment down below if you're wondering the same thing I am, okay? So after that visit, Eric was like, fuck it, I'm going down here to this ragged ass hole in the wall bar. Patrick finds him, and Patrick lets him know how I found you. Was the fact I know people too. Maybe not, good people like Daddy. And, but I found you, big bro. I'm going to come take you home because you've been drinking, okay? So he asked while he's there, well, first of all, what was funny, they have this little exchange. It's like, our dad is an asshole. And we know why Eric thinks his father is an asshole, because his father is telling him to do all of this shit that he doesn't think in his conscience is right. Of course, Patrick asked about Mama, because if you notice, remember at the repast or the memorial or whatever it was, Patrick was really, really trying to figure out, have you seen Mom? Have y'all been to visit her? And Amanda was like, I'd rather peel my skin off than to go see her. So that leads me to believe she really was a horrible mother. But Patrick is too young to remember. And so he asked his brother, did you see Mom? He was like, I saw her, but she sure didn't see me. And Patrick got all sensitive and was like, that's not right. You should talk about my mama. I was just a baby practically when she, oh God. I was like, oh Lord. So back at the house, little brother's taking care of big brother, making pancakes. Everybody loves pancakes. So they start discussing all the information that Eric has found out about Kate. They started doing some more sleuthing. And not to mention there's a knock at the door. Shane Campbell stops by. And he comes to explain himself. He was like, I saw you last night at the store and I got scared, so I figured I better come because you might show up again and not show me any type of graciousness. So he tells them that he met up with Kate at the Grand Capri Motel to put tracking software on her iPad. And I'm going to assume that it is the iPad that Eric found in her desk, okay? Shane is so clean with it. He said, yeah, and by the way, while we were there, I did make a pass at her, but she said no. I just thought you should know that. And then he tipped on that. So Eric realizes that, of all places to meet, that must be where the money drop was. And that's when he talks about the blackmailing and all this stuff. And I'm really wondering, who was blackmailing Eric at this point? Who was it? And will they continue to do so? Because there's really not much else they could do. I'm wondering now at this point, was maybe Lim Connors the blackmailer? But why would he need to do that since he was stealing people's money through opening up fake lines of credit? I don't know. I mean, hell, y'all did see how he hauled ass out that office that night. So they started talking about Amanda. Amanda calls and she says that Cornell summons. And I'm so amazed at how this is resolved. Turns out that Cornell wanted to meet with him to let him know that, Eric, I am backing your TRO. Tina Sawyers has a sort of history of shaking men, and she doesn't know how to let go, basically. I was like, kind of like you, huh? He really wants to know what is Detective Cornell's angle after the meeting, but his sister tells him, that means she's on to somebody else, and let's keep it that way. So she knows it's not you, because part of building her case was trying to say that you were a woman beater. Okay. Also, Cornell wants to know the home computer, the laptop at work, are there any other electronic devices? Now, Cornell strikes me as a woman who doesn't ask a question without knowing the answer. But Eric lies and says, well, you have her cell phone. I bet he was like, well, Heifer, if you know something I don't know, shit, you better come find it, get you a warrant. Because I ain't saying shit no more. I ain't helping you do shit. I ain't helping you lock my ass up and I end up dead to the concrete like Ben Crawford. This is when Eric propositions his sister to help him out with the license plate that he took from the security cam from the office. And so sister obliges, takes it to dude at the office. He finds it. And when we close out this episode, Super Sleuth is back on. He ends up at the door. Some dark-haired girl answers the door. She looks scared out of her fucking mind, and she has every right to be. Because when the door opens wider, guess who it is? It's Mystery Dude. How is he always like, I don't know, 100 feet ahead of them every time? I don't know. I don't understand. So he asked Eric, are you going to stay or you going to go? I don't know. Let's find out in the next episode. Based upon the previews from next episode, I'm thinking Eric chose to stay. We see in the next episode that him and Mystery Dude are working together. So the questions that we want to ask at the end of this episode is, what's up with Papa Warner? What really happened to Momma Warner? Because I get the feeling she was hell on wheels when she was alert. Where's Lem Connors? And who is blonde-haired dude? Will we ever learn his name? Or will he always be the invisible man type? How is he always on the scene? How is he always one step ahead of everybody else? That's all I've got. I'll be back for season 2, episode 4. Have a great